Good morning.
Namaste, Ria. Namaste.
Sorry.
Ria, namaste.
Namaste. Okay, good morning.
I'm from Nepal. Good morning. Good morning. Namaste.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the ADC Jakarta webinar. Our program today is anti-doping webinar, dedicated and then presented for all the member federation, 18 member federation of ADC Jakarta affiliation. So before we start with the webinar, we would like to ask Mr. Ria Lumitwarso as ADC Jakarta Director to speak a few words. Please, Mr. Ria.
Thank you, Ibu Ria. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like, on behalf of ADC Jakarta World Athletic, I would like to welcome you on board, and very warm welcome to our lecturer, Mr. Fumihiro Yamasawa, Dr. Ermita Elias, Dr. Bingzu, Dr. Syed Askan, and special welcome also to all the participants who come from the member federation in our region, in South and Southeast Asia region. So I think the anti-doping seminar is very important because we have so many cases in the world, not only in athletics, but also in other sport. When you see in last Olympic Games in Tokyo, we see some country, they don't use the name of the country, but they just use OC in their bag. So that means they have something problem with the maybe doping control. So like ROC. So I think we have to learn also about the anti-doping seminar, how to control the doping and how to proceed about the doping control in our sport. Because athletics is one of the sport who are very concerned regarding the doping. So that's why what athletics try to take care about the doping program. So it is our right to be here. And I think we have to be concerned regarding the doping control. So in 2 days, in 24th and 29th, we will sit together here, we'll discuss under guideline of Dr. Yamasawa, Dr. Ermita, Dr. Yumbing, and also Dr. Askan. So I think we should use this opportunity to learn and to see and how we have to do doping control in our region. So I think we are very happy. And in the end of this seminar, of course, we will provide normally the certificate for you. And I do hope you can use the certificate to make sure that you can or you're able to control the doping in your country. So again, thank you very much to the team, to the lecturer, to the expert to guide us through this seminar. And hopefully you have enjoyed the course or the seminar. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Pak Ria Lumitwarso. So, ladies and gentlemen, this seminar will be conducted by four doctors. Dr. Fumihiro Yamasawa is the chairman of the AAA Medical Committee. And then the other 3 doctors, Dr. Ermita Elias, and then Dr. Dr. Askan or DPS, and Dr. Jin Binzhou is the member of the AAA Medical Commission. Okay, so we would like to ask Dr. Yamasawa to start the class and also to introduce maybe detailing all the members of the AAA Medical Commission. Dr. Yamasawa, time is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ria and Ms. Ria, so that they give me a very nice opportunity to do that, to see Asian friend. So thank you very much for all of you. And then, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the ADC Jakarta Medical Webinars. My name is Fumihiro Yamasawa, as I introduced. So that ADC Jakarta asked me to organize a medical webinar for anti-doping to member federations. And then that I'm very happy to be here. And then I'm very happy to see you. I don't have any financial conflict of interest to disclose concerning to the presentation. Purpose of this webinar is to help you understand the main changes to the World Anti-Doping Code and to protecting your health and your anti-doping rights, and also that are protecting the clean sports. After the full webinar, that you'll be much informed about the updated anti-doping. And then also that if we have any questions during my presentation, please write down your name, country, and the question in the chat. I'll try to reply you after my presentation. So that the topic and the lecture in each session is listed here. That the medical commission doctors accepted to be guest speakers in this webinars. As you are informed, there are 4 medical doctors are going to do the presentation. And then as like a relay, and in 2 days course for 4 topics, 2 lectures in each day will be presented, and namely overview by myself, and then prohibited list by Dr. Elias today, and then the TUE by Dr. Jinbin, and also that sample collection, Ashkan, on September 29th. And those presentations include a lot of must-to-know information for federation doctors, trainers, and coaches of national teams. So as myself, as a first leg of this relay, I'll do the presentation about an overview of anti-doping. So this is the first slide. Trace of doping in athletics. What happened in athletics performance in the last 30 years? So this is a typical finding of trace of doping in athletics. The horizontal axis indicate the year from 1983, 1983 to 2011. And then the vertical axis shows that the record of annual world best performance of some athletics event. You can see the record of 1988 is still the world best performance. After that point, the apparent decrement of performance is seen. This red circle indicate is the one from the gold medalist of Tokyo Olympic Games. What event do you think? This is a world best performance, women's.
Welcome. Good morning, teacher.
Okay. Yeah. What do you think? This is. Can you hear? Okay. This is a record of women discus throw. And the world record is about 77 meters here. And the last one in Tokyo is about 68 meters. So there is more than 10% decrement of the performance. But in the last 30 years, the medicine, science, nutrition, technique, theory, equipment, gear in sports area have been much advanced and improved. Why athletics performance decreased? Yes, you can hit on doping in sports. As an example is shown here, the world best performance of women's shot put was recorded in 1987. And comparing the performance of Tokyo 2020, Also, there's also 10% decrease compared to the world best performance for the record and the Tokyo all gold medalist. Why the performance has been decreased in the past 30 years? Maybe there are several reasons. I think that number one is that the fall of Berlin Wall in November 9, 1989. Before that period, there had long been Cold War between the West countries and East countries. East countries were poorer in economics than West countries. The leaders of East countries wanted to be better at sporting performance than that of West countries. The Olympic gold medalist and the world champion and their coaches were given a lot of incentives by government in East countries. After the fall of Berlin Wall, police of West Germany revealed the evidence of doping in East Germany. The state-sponsored doping became apparent at last. The similar state-sponsored doping had long been conducted in other East countries. The fall of Berlin Wall was the start of the harmonious relation between West and East countries. This situation suppressed the doping in sports because there was no more incentive for athletes if they won the gold medal in Olympic Games. Also, the out of competition testing suppressed the doping in sports. It started 1989. Before 1989, all athletes could prepare for the in-competition testing and they could escape to be found positive. After 1989, athletes, especially top-ranked athletes, should be tested not only in competition, but also out of competition period. So athletes were tested without any notice, so there was little chance to do doping for them. The out of competition testing costs a lot of money, but it is a very strong tool to control doping. Many of you know these pictures. Ben Johnson, the left man, was very happy to have won the 100-meter race at the Seoul Olympic Games 1988. But he was declared doping positive because stanozolol, anabolic androgenic steroid, was positive in his urine sample. The gold medal was forfeited from him. This great sprinter said in TV program in 2004 that everybody in Seoul was on drugs. I got caught because my country didn't really protect me, he said. Now, it is not surprising for you to hear what Ben said. As shown in the previous slides, there had been many doping athletes at that time. Charlie Francis, he is Ben's coach, said that steroids are so ubiquitous, so omnipresent, and have been for decades. This means that many athletes have used steroids for a long time. Furthermore, it was reported Soviet athletes had a secret laboratory on a ship near Seoul during the Seoul Olympic Games 1988. The Olympic athletes from Soviet could make sure their urine would pass doping test. Now, there has been a very vicious state-sponsored doping scandal of Russia. The typical example was seen in Sochi Winter Games 2014 and also the IWF World Championship Moscow in 2013. And Mr. Rodchenkov, former director of WADA-accredited Moscow laboratory, disclosed what he did to the Russian athlete in May 2016. After the investigation, Russia was not allowed to participate in Pyeongchang Winter Games and also Tokyo Olympic Games. Some athletes who were confirmed clean competed as AFR, athletes from Russia, under the Olympic flag. They were not allowed to compete for their country. So they have a long history of state-sponsored doping in Russia. Russia is strongly ordered to change its bad doping tradition. So that now that I'd like to talk about what anti-doping code. What is the World Anti-Doping Code? This is the code set out that anti-doping rule for all sponsors, all sports, and all countries. The code protects fundamental rights as an athlete to participate in clean sports. The code promotes and protects the health, wellness, and equal opportunity for you and the athlete worldwide. The code is accepted by the entire Olympic movement, various sports bodies, including World Athletics, national anti-doping organizations, and the governments through the UNESCO Convention Against Doping in Sports. All these governments and organizations are signatories to the code. It can be said that the code is the constitution of an anti-doping community. The current version is 2021 edition. The previous one was 2015 edition. It's not easy to change or amend the code. What change have been made to the rationale for the 2021 code? Now that health is the top rationale for the World Anti-Doping Code. Also that the fundamental rationale for the code includes athlete rights. The Athlete Act also highlights what the anti-doping community need to do to protect your right to the athlete rights. And the definition, what new in the 2021 code? Intentional incompetence and tampering. Intentional means that the person engaged in a conduct which he or she knew was an anti-doping rule violation or knew there was a significant risk and disregarded the risk. In competition, the competition period starts at 11:59 p.m. on the day before competition and lasts until the end of competition. And when the sample collection process for that competition has finished. Tampering, interfering with the testing process or any other part of the doping control is given as a clear example of tampering. One thing is that education. The education is defined as the process of learning to instill values and develop behaviors that foster and protect the spirits of sports and to prevent intentional and unintentional doping. The international standard education provides details on how anti-doping organizations should plan, deliver, monitor, and evaluate anti-doping education program for athletes and their support personnel. The ISE also states that it is important for anti-doping organizations to educate athletes before they are tested. This is very important. You should do that testing before you should do that education before you do test the athlete. So, what are the international standards? International standards for the different technical areas of anti-doping to make sure that there is consistency around the world. The implementation of the international standards is mandatory for all code signatories. There are 8 international standards now. International standards for education, prohibited list, therapeutic use exemption, testing and investigation, the protection of privacy, personal information, code compliance by signatories. There are 8. But in the 2021, the IS education and also that the IS result management was introduced. These 2 international standards are very, very new since the 2021. So as a team doctors and physios and trainers and head coach, you should know at least prohibited list and TUE and also the testing, so that my colleague will do that presentation about the list, TUE, and also the testing. So that I'll talk about a little for the international standard for the list, TUE, and also the testing. The first international standard for the prohibited list it is a list. This is a list of substances and methods that are banned. You need to be familiar with the list and when substances are banned in competition only or at all times. Never take any substance or use any method before consulting the list. The list shall be amended and updated at least once a year. You should check WADA website in the end of September or in the beginning of October annually. Usually that September 30th or October 1st, the new code will be, a new prohibited list will be appeared on the WADA website. And the new list will be effective on January 1st next year. So this is an example of changes of beta-2 agonists since 2004. Okay, there are several changes of exceptions and also the added prohibited beta-2 agonist. And from the 2004 to 2009, we should use that abbreviated TUE if we use that these inhaler beta-2 agonists. But from the 2010, no abbreviated TUE is required to use the salbutamol and also the salmeterol. And since the 2012, the formoterol is added, and then this year, 2021, bilanterol has been added as exceptions of beta-2 agonists. As all beta-2 agonists are prohibited at all times, so that before you prescribe the beta-2 agonist to athlete, make sure to consult the list. It is changing, okay? And also that there is a definition of adverse analytical findings when using these exceptions. Procaterol and higenamine and trobuterol, and also that alpha-formoterol, lavalsalbutamol are prohibited. So make sure please don't use these medicines. What has changed to the substance? First one is specified and non-specified. And also the next one is substance of use. The first one is specified and non-specified. The substance on the prohibited list were classified as specified or non-specified. Specified substances were more likely to have a reason for appearing in athlete sample, as these banned substances may be in medications easily available over the counter, so that the sanction can be reduced in a specified substances abuse. The substance of abuse is that some banned substance will be identified as substance of abuse. If an athlete can prove they used the substance out of compassion and that it was unrelated to sports performance, a 3-month sanction can be applied. This is a kind of a narcotics. Anyway, this is some kind of have that positive case, so that all the forfeiture and the medal will be withdrawn from the athlete. So that be careful to use the substance of abuse. So if you do not have any rigid confidence of medicine, you can check the medicine with global DRO website by yourself. Global DRO is Global Drug Reference Online. You can use Global DRO freely, no charge. Before you prescribe or before you take medicine, you can confirm medicine by yourself. The name of medicine should be written its generic name. Brand name is not accepted. In addition, herbal medicine cannot be checked in this system because herbal medicine do not have any generic names. What is important is the generic name, okay? No herbal medicine can be checked with this global DRO. It is very easy to use, and then you can teach athlete to use this global DRO, and the athlete can check the medicine by themselves. Next one is the International Standard for Therapeutic Use Exemptions, ISTUE. Everybody knows that name TUE. Yeah, TUE outlines the process for athlete to apply for therapeutic use exemption, TUE. TUE may allow them to use a banned substance or method to treat legitimate medical conditions. And Dr. Zhou will explain about TUE on September 29th. What are the criteria for granting a TUE? There are 4 criteria. All of the 4 following criteria must be met for the granting TUE. The first is that the athlete has a clear diagnosed medical condition which requires treatment using a prohibited substance or method. The therapeutic use of the substance will not, on the balance of probabilities, produce significant enhancement of performance beyond the athlete's normal state of health. the prohibited substance or method is an indicated treatment for the medical condition, and there's no reasonable permitted therapeutic alternatives. 4. The necessity to use the substance or method is not the consequence of the prior use without a TUE of substance or method which was prohibited at that time of use. So that when the prescribing that prohibited medicine, you should check that all 4 criteria are met or not. The position of TUE among Olympic athletes in the last 10 years is shown in this slide. Beta-2 agonist is the most common prohibited substance to be allowed to use. Then the glucocorticoid and also the stimulant follows. Recently, there are many applications for stimulants. These medicines are mainly used for ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorders. The prevalence of ADHD is quite different in countries and areas. High prevalence in the United States and low prevalence in Asian countries. So there may be that you never submitted the requested stimulant for the ADHD. The Asian doctors have very small experience to use the stimulant for the ADHD patient. So all TU material should be written in English. Local languages are not accepted because that all the TUE material will be submitted to the WADA website and management system, so that if you write in your local language, nobody can understand, and the foreign people cannot understand, so that all material should be written in English. Next one is an international standard for testing and investigation, ISTI. ISTI describes how anti-doping testing and investigation must be carried out by anti-doping organizations. Recent changes to the ISTI include alcohol is no longer permitted in the doping control station. So that it means that you don't have to prepare any alcohol in the doping control station, or that athlete cannot bring any alcohol into the doping control station, okay? The acceptable specific gravity reading in a urine sample was changed in 2020. The doping control officer will securely store your partial samples. You cannot hold your partial sample by yourself when you are in the waiting area. The doping control officer will hold it, take it, okay? And Dr. Ashkan will give you the presentation for ISTI on September 29th. The volume and acceptable specific gravity of urine sample was changed as shown in 2020. If you provide a urine sample more than 150 ml, the acceptable minimum specific gravity is now 1.003. Now, this is a very good change both for athletes and doping control officials. Otherwise, less than 150, that the specific gravity must be more than 1.005. Okay, and also that the specific gravity should be measured using the refractometers. You cannot use any tape you should use the refract methods. So I'll show you some statistics of doping tests registered in ADAMS, Anti-Doping Administration and Management System of WADA. The blue line is number of A sample from Olympic sports. The red line, number of from the non-Olympic sports. And the green line is the total numbers. Number of A sample has been increasing in the last 8 years. However, it can easily be predicted decreased number in 2020 due to the COVID-19 spread in the worldwide. The number of in-competition testing is so much decreased in 2020, so that maybe that next year decreased, and total decreased. This slide showed that the percent adverse analytical findings, percent AAF in ADAMS. The blue circle is Olympic sports, and red is non-Olympic sports, and the green is the total percent adverse analytical findings. With the increase of number of A samples, the percent AAF is decreasing in both Olympic sports and also that non-Olympic sports, especially the percent AAF in Olympic sports is 0.67% in 2019. This is the lowest in WADA statistics. This slide shows that the distribution of prohibited substance and the prohibited method which are reported in ADAMS. And then we can know what substance are abused in athletes around the world. As you can see, this blue line predominates every year. This is S1, anabolic agent. Anabolic agent occupies half of abused substance almost in every year. Do you remember what Charlie Francis, coach of Ben Johnson, said in 2004? He said, steroids are so ubiquitous, so omnipresent, and have been for decades. It is regrettable that such situation has not been changed since then. Why anabolic steroids? Because anabolic steroids are very cheap, easy to obtain, and have shown better performance in history, in sports history, so that the athlete try to use that anabolic steroid as doping for the performance enhancement. So many athletes are still using anabolic steroid, but sometimes such kind of anabolic steroids are contaminated in the supplement, so that you should be very careful for using the supplement. Blood testing has become very common recently and increasing in number in every year. In 2019, more than 36,000 samples were taken. They are used for the acid biological passport for the EPO, and then the EPO abuse and the transfusion, something like that. This is very, very strong tool to detect that EPO abuse. I think that in your country, in your national anti-doping organization, they are doing that more blood sampling maybe that 10% of the total sample in the total doping samples, 90% urine and 10% blood samples. So that actually that in the worldwide, this is 36,000 is about the 10% of the total samples. And then top level athlete, there is a two kinds of tests. One is in competition test, and the other is the out of competition testing. The top level athletes should take out of competition test at any time and at any place. Who are top athletes to be conducted out of competition test? Athlete level is suitable to use the pyramid model. The athlete who are nominated as registered testing pool (RTP) athlete by World Athletics or National Anti-Doping Organization, and then the athlete the next level of athlete is that testing pool athlete nominated by World Athletics, also that National Anti-Doping Organizations. The third level is an athlete include the competing at international level or the national level competitions. So the RTP, the top level, and the next level, TP athlete must submit their whereabouts information in every 3 months. Those athletes are the main target of out of competition tests. And also the athletes who are competing in international and also national level competition is the target for the in-competition testing. These two group out of competition, and then that they are the target for the in-competition testing. The whereabouts failure will be recorded against the World Athletics RTP athlete. So that please have a look. Firing failure, firing failure, firing failure, firing failure, and missed test. There are two kinds of whereabouts failures: firing failure and missed test. Okay. The first one is you have failed to submit your whereabouts by required deadline. You have failed to update your whereabouts, or you have not updated. It's not possible after change of circumstances. You have filed your whereabouts on time, but they are incomplete or inaccurate or insufficient to enable us to locate you for testing. Training address missing, hotel address too big, competition schedule missing, or incomplete, no address of temporary accommodation during competition. The AIU Athletics Integrated Unit find out that your whereabouts were inaccurate or incomplete following an unsuccessful attempt to test you. And the athlete lived in a gated complex and failed to give instruction to the security gate to let the doping control officer in. You have filed whereabouts information, but you are not available for testing at location corresponding to your 60-minute time slot. So these examples and the situation are very important for RTP and the TP athletes and their coaches. You are strongly advised not to violate whereabouts failures. If you do that whereabouts failure, the consequence is very strong. Any combination of 3 whereabout failure within a period of 12 months, the applicable sanction is 2 years ineligibilities. So that athlete compliance with the whereabout program is crucial. You should be careful if we have that RTP or TP athlete in your team or in your patient. You should all the time ask them to remind whereabout informations. Next one is the supplement and other product. Contaminant in supplement is a big risk for athlete. These ingredients are not listed on the label and often unknowingly enters the supplement product during the production process. Athlete will have to establish the exact origin of the banned substance if they have an AAF that they believe is related to supplement use. So I'd like to advise you that keep any kind of supplement and their packages which you consumed. If you are found positive for banned substances, you may ask analysis of those supplements. So this is very, very important to reduce your sanctions. Assess the risk before deciding to use a supplement and research any product before you use it. Not taking the risk seriously and not trying to minimize the risk may mean you will not benefit from a reduced sanction if you test positive because the supplement you used was contaminated. To research supplement, you can use the supplement 411, supplement 411 at the USADA website. Manufacturer's name and the brand name of product will be used to search the risk of contamination. But USADA here recommend you use only supplements certified by NSL certified for sports to reduce your risk. Anyway, that before you use the supplement, before the athlete use the supplement, they should check this website, supplement 411, with manufacturer's name and the brand name. And then if you can know there is a contamination or not. At least you should do, okay? Next one is that I'd like to show you that anti-doping organization and rules. The left one is that international. The right one is national. The anti-doping agencies and signatories, testing program, testing program planners, and also testing authority and laboratory, result management, and also the arbitration. So that in your country, you have to have that these systems to protect yourself and to protect your athlete and to protect your organizations. The left side that I show you that anti-doping agency, so this is all you know that the WADA, World Anti-Doping Agency, it has the World Anti-Doping Code and also that the 8 international standards. The signatory is government, IOC, IF, including WA, and also the major event organizers. This is OCA, and then NADO and LADO. The National Anti-Doping Organization, this is the national, they have national anti-doping codes. This is the same. Okay, almost the same. And then each NADO used the international standards, and the signatories, National Olympic Committee, National Paralympic Committee, and the national federations. They have to make some sign as a signatories for the National Anti-Doping Code. And testing program planner is internationally, as in the Tokyo Olympic Games, it was International Testing Agency, ITA. And the World Athletic Championship, WA, is the testing programmer. And also that the Asian Games, the OCA is the testing program distribution. They decide the testing test distribution plan. And in the national level, there is a National Independent Authority for Test Distribution Plan. This is completely different from the national anti-doping organizations. It should be completely different, independent bodies. The testing should be done in the Tokyo Olympic Game. It was ITA, International Testing Authority Agency, and also the IF, major event organizers, and the National Anti-Doping Organization. The national level, it's NADOs. Analysis can be done only WADA accredited laboratories. And then maybe that you will send your sample to other countries, to WADA accredited laboratories. The result management should be done in the Olympic Games. The result management is handled by the International Court of Arbitration for Sports, ICAS. Otherwise, in the World Athletics Championship, the WA will do the result management. In the national level, the result management can be handled. National Anti-Doping Disciplinary Panel. This is also completely different, independent one. Arbitration. And internationally, it's a Court of Arbitration for Sports. And then at the national level, it's a National Sports Arbitration Panel. Also, this is independent from the National Anti-Doping Organization. This is very, very important, independent panels, all right? They're also that international, all are independent. And maybe that for some of you, this is the first time to know that the International Testing Agency, this has been recently organized and worked as an independent testing authorities. In the Tokyo Olympic Games, the ITA, International Testing Agency, collected 6,200 samples. And more than 1/3 of them were taken out of competition at athlete villages. The over 4,200 athletes are tested. It's about 36% of total athletes, and from that 171 countries. There are more than I think it was 206 countries coming to Japan, so that about 85% of the countries have been tested in competition or out of competition. The top 10 tested National Olympic Committee was the USA, China, Australia, ROC, this is a Russian Olympic Committee, Great Britain, Italy, Japan, Canada, France, and Spain. And also 10 tests in athletics, number 1, and cycling and so on. So that in Tokyo Olympic Games, that they worked until midnight. So many athletes have been tested in the Tokyo Olympic Games. And in the Tokyo Olympic Games, there were 6 anti-doping rule violation cases 4 athletes, this one, this one, this one, this one, was found test positive out of competition. And the 2 athletes was found positive in competition. Out of competition, what was found is this one, EPO, and also that anabolic steroid, and also the anabolic steroid, and tamoxifen, hormone modulators, and also that blood transfusion. There are 4 cases found out of competition in Tokyo Olympic Games. And in competition, we have 2 positive cases, one from SARMs, and also one is blood transfusion. We have 2 blood transfusion in Tokyo Olympic Games. I think that the presence of homologous blood transfusion was firstly detected in the Olympics. This is the first Olympic Games to detect that blood transfusion. This requires a very, very new technology to detect that red blood cells for other persons. Surface markers should be analyzed to know that homologous blood transfusions. And also that I should tell you about that athletics integrity unit of World Athletics. The AIU has been operated since April 2017. This is an independent body from World Athletics. The AIU manages a full range of functional activities, including education, prevention, testing, intelligence gathering, investigations, result management, prosecutions, and appeals. And also, it also have a key role in monitoring the compliance of member federation with their obligation under the Integrity Code of Conduct. So the athlete integrity unit will be tasked with combating any and all threat to the integrity of the sport. Under Rule 15 of the World Athletics Anti-Doping Rules, national federations are placed in one of 3 different categories, A, B, C, according to the factors that have been considered for determining the doping risk to the sport. Category A, the highest doping risk. Category C, the lowest doping risk. Category B, in between, and C. National federations are subject to a set of general obligations that are imposed on all federations and to a set of specific obligations that are imposed on each category of federation. Asian federations are listed in Category A, Bahrain, the Category B, China, Japan, Kazakhstan, and Qatar, and the Category C, other AAA federations. The key requirement in Rule 15 is that an athlete from Category A country must undergo at least 3 no-notice out-of-competition tests, urine and blood, conducted no less than 3 weeks apart in 10 months leading up to the major event. So these 8 countries, these 7 countries. These 7 countries are classified in Category A by Athletics Integrity Unit, so that all the athletes from these 7 countries have to have the no notice out of competition testing 3 times before they come to Tokyo. But the Nigerian athlete, 10 athletes couldn't come to Tokyo because they did not meet the criteria of the category A. They didn't take any out of competition testing 3 times. Also that Belarus 3 athletes, Ethiopia 1 athlete, Kenya 2 athletes, Morocco 1 athlete, and Ukraine 3, and total 20 athletes. That there are 222 athletes from category A countries. About 10% of them couldn't appear in Tokyo Olympic Games. So then the AIU have a very, very strict criteria to participate in big games, as like Olympic Games, and also the next World Championship. So coming back to the positive case in Tokyo Olympic Games, as I show you that we have 4 persons found positive out of competition and 2 persons found positive in competitions. And then there is an athlete from Asian country, that is Bahrain. Bahrain is the category A countries. So the category A country has shown that 2 positive cases of blood transfusion. Blood transfusion. This is very, very sad thing. Homologous blood transfusion is that only blood testing can reveal the presence of homologous blood transfusion. So that until the Tokyo Olympic Games, we have done a lot of urine tests in Asian Championship and the Asian Games, but we cannot detect any homologous blood transfusion, only with urine samples. So that we should think that extensive blood testing should be conducted in coming AAA, Asian Athletic Association sanctioned championship and meetings for the clean sports. This is very, very important to do that blood testing in our meetings. And then this is a slide for that from AIU website. And in 2020, the testing program road to Tokyo. In 2020, AIU collected 767 samples from athletes from 90 countries, including the more than 420 out of competition samples. While the in competition testing opportunities were limited due to the cancellation of event, so that AIU focused of no notice out of competition testing, which led to a number of important cases being prosecuted. In 2021, the AIU testing program is highly targeted and intelligence-led, and is aimed at the elite registered testing pool athlete that consisted of 782 from 73 countries. 46% sample were taken from African athletes, and 56 sample were from long distance runners. So you can check, this is 46 from African countries. This is Europe, 25, and then North America, 15, and 9% Asian countries, 9%. And South Africa, 4%, and also the Oceania, 1%. And also that this one is for the discipline distribution, long distance, 56, and sprinters, 14, and middle distance, 10%, and slow, 9%, and jumps, 8%, and combined, 3%. So mostly the African long distance runners, they were out of competition with no notice. So that all that AIU is working very hard to do that intelligence to detect that doped athlete. The last slide is this, that you are encouraged to learn about the rules that form the backbone of the clean sports effort, including proof of doping, prohibited list and the TUE, testing and investigation, analysis samples. Oh, these will be, you will listen to that presentation. You will see the presentation today and the 29th September. And the result management, this is usually done by that National Anti-Doping Organization, and also hearing process panel. And then this is the automatic disqualification of individual result, consequences to teams, and disciplinary proceeding for non-compliance, appeals, confidentiality and reporting, sanctions against national federation. You know that the Russian has a sanction from WADA and WADA Athletics also. Application and the recognition of decision, education. This is very important. So that National Anti-Doping Organization do the education program, and also that your federation will work together with the National Anti-Doping Organization to educate athletes before you test them. Interpretation of rules and also the definition of anti-doping terminology. So they are very, very complex. It's very difficult to understand, but to try to know that at least you should know the prohibited list and the TUE testing did too. Analysis sample, that this will be done by the laboratory, so that you should know did too. Okay. Okay. So for the further information, please visit the website of WADA, World Athletics, and the AIU and the international testing agencies. You can have that more information concerning to that anti-dopings. Okay, thank you very much for your attendance. This is the final slide. So if we have any questions, please write down your name, country, and the question in the chat. I'll try to reply now about 15 minutes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Yamasawa. So yes, exactly. There are 2 questions already on the chat box.
Okay.
Shall I read it, or you will do it yourself?
In case athlete who might have asthma and treatment. So, okay. The first one is that from the Cambodia, Miss Eng, so that the problem for that asthma treatment. So that the salbutamol inhalation is okay to use. The salbutamol tablet is not. You cannot use any. You cannot. So that please check that your athlete has been used at salbutamol inhalation, but there is a maximum dose for salbutamol, 8 puffs at least at the maximum 12 hours, and so that 24 hours, 16 puffs in a day. But next year in 2022, little bit changed. So that please confirm that prohibited list September 30th or October 1st. Okay. And also that you can use that for formoterol and bilanterol and salbutamol, formoterol. Sorry, I forget. Salbutamol, formoterol, salmeterol, and also that bilanterol for inhaled beta-2 agonist. So that there's so many alternatives. Okay, but only that inhalation treatment can be taken for the athlete. Next one is in 1 cup of coffee tea permitted before event. Okay, thank you very much. The caffeine is not prohibited now. Before that 2004, until the 2003, caffeine has been prohibited. There is a ceiling concentration of the urine. But now caffeine is not prohibited, so that 1 cup of coffee and then 1 cup of tea is permitted, no problem to use, to drink. And then also okay.
Yeah, no.
Everything fine? So we have a lot of time. Please have more questions.
Yes, you can actually ask directly to Dr. Yamasawa. Or you can use the chat box to write down your question.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yes.
It's me, Dr. Gyanendra Saha from Nepal. I would like to ask one question. In our country, most of the athletes using some plants or herbs. So, is there any doping rules for the plants or herbs? Or it is a prohibited list? It included in the prohibited list or not?
Yes, Dr. Yamasawa, it is about the herbs or kind of plant tradition from Nepal.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult to answer that because of the herb, as in my presentation, herb is very difficult to check because that there's no generic ingredient can be seen in the herbal medicine. So that it's better not to use the herbal medicine to the athlete.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, please. Some more questions. We still have time.
Good morning, doctor. I have one question. I'm from Raj Mohan from India. You told that gravity will be analyzed regarding the urine sample. The gravity is for 150 ml, it is 1.003, and for 90 to 150 ml is 1.005. During the DOP testing facilities, is the gravity measurement scale is available there to measure this gravity?
Spectrophometry.
The special gravity.
Yeah, urine gravity.
Yeah, the special gravity that in my slide is that if you can provide the urine more than 150, that minimum requirement is 1.03, but less than 150, the minimum requirement is 1.05. Okay, using the refract method, no tapes.
No, it can be. It will be measured during the DOP sample collection center itself. It will be measured. The gravity will be measured during the during the testing sample collection itself.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. I cannot follow that. What's the problem? Sorry.
The gravity of the urine will be tested during the DOP sample collection time itself or later?
You mean
The
that
gravity of the urine.
gravity urine? You mean
Yeah.
the change
Yeah.
by time?
No, sir. The urine gravity. The urine gravity should be tested during the DOP sampling collection itself.
Oh, okay. So sorry that it's hard to understand. So could you
Yeah.
send by chat?
Yeah, please,
Yeah, I will do.
Mr.
Yeah. Okay.
Rajmohan,
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Sorry.
I think it's noisy around your area, so it's better you write down and on the chat box, Mr. Rajmohan.
Okay, I
Easier.
will do that. I will do.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, and there is one question, Dr. Yamasawa, in the chat box.
So, regulation keep changing in terms of the dosage prohibited substance. Yeah, okay. That you mean that better to the from Cambodia, Mr. Eng. It may be that concerning to the problem of beta 2 agonist. So I've talked about the problem of beta 2 agonist. Why that the dosage of prohibited, the dosage change. It is due to that to protect the athlete health, that the higher concentration of beta 2 agonist is not so good for their health. So that and also several years ago that the salbutamol can be used 16 puffs, 24 hours, 16 puffs, 24 hours, but changed 8 puffs in each 12 hours, and total 16 puffs. But some athletes use a very large amount of puffs. Once time before the competition start, they inhale 10 puffs or 12 puffs at one time, so that it is very dangerous. So the dosage should be changed very to think about the athlete health. It's okay.
Ms. Ng? Ms. Ng,
Yes. Yes.
So okay. It's okay. That concerning to the beta 2 stimulant dosage change.
yes, I think
Okay,
this
thank
is
you.
okay.
Okay, and also that thank you very much for the specific gravity. The specific gravity should be checked just in front of the athlete in competition, and also the out of competition, not in the correction centers. Okay.
There is a question. Is it okay, Ms. Ng? Ms. Ng? Okay, so we go to another question on the chat box.
Yeah. Well, appropriate. It is said that stimulants like caffeine, competition only. Okay. So that the monitoring program, the WADA is checking that how many athletes use such kind of substance, and then that if WADA thinks such kind of substance abuse is very big numbers, the WADA will make such kind of substance on the list, so that the caffeine is now in the list because that the caffeine is not so much used in the competition and the competition. So that in the future, if you use a caffeine, if there is so many athletes using caffeine in competition, the caffeine will be again on the list. But now, just monitoring. And also the other thing, no concentration limitations, just that monitors. To take creatine supplement for athlete. Yeah, the creatine is not prohibited, so that they can take. But before you take the creatine, that you should check that it's contaminated or not. Also, that the creatine itself has some kind of side effect for that the weight gain, also that edematous and something like that. So that, and especially for the younger athlete, the creatine is not good. So that you should be very careful to use the creatine. In some athletes, creatine works very well, but sometimes it is contaminated. Be careful to use it.
Mr. Ratsmohan, maybe you have ready with your question.
I have already sent the questions to doctor and he has replied it.
Sorry, Mr. Ratsmohan, it's not so clear. Oh, he's typing. Yes, this question is on the chat box, Dr. Fumi.
Again, that urine gravity, the urine gravity should be checked in the sample collection room. And also that minimum volume is 90 ml. Okay.
Is it answer your question, Mr. Ratsmohan?
What about
Okay, from
whey protein as a supplement? Yeah, it's okay that to use that whey protein as a supplement, but you should be very, very careful for that contamination. So what protein is not prohibited.
Okay, some more question.
So, okay, that as a first leg of the relay. So that next one is that second runner is Dr. Ermita today. And then also the third post is that Dr. Song from China, and also that the fourth leg is that Dr. Ashkan from Iran. So they can give you some comment, and also that today that I do that, I give you that overview of anti-doping, including the prohibited list and also the TUE and also the testing. Each of these items will be so much precisely documented, precisely explained by other 3 doctors. Okay, so please wait. Also that I'm a member of AIU, TUE committee chairman. I'm a TUE committee chairman of AIU. So that I'm so much afraid that no request, no application of TUE from Asia countries, including Japan, China, Qatar, and some places. So that I'm so much afraid that you can use the prohibited medicine, writing down the complete TUE applications, so that if you want to prescribe that prohibited medicine, or if we want to use a prohibited substance, please make the complete TUE form written in English to World Athletics. So I'm so much concerned about no request, no application from Asian countries. But I don't know why. Anyway, don't hesitate to send any application to World Athletics, AIU.
Yeah, hopefully maybe after you remind all the doctors here, especially, they will have a list of the IU. Okay, you still have ask question. You still have time, a little bit, before we close the morning session. Yeah, I don't think that they have question, or maybe you can ask later. You can write on the chat box, and then the other doctors can deliver the question to Dr. Yamasawa.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, then, so thank you so much, Dr. Yamasawa, for your time, for sharing the knowledge to upgrade and refresh all the doctors, physiotherapists, and coaches here. So we will break for until 2 o'clock. We will start again our afternoon session at 2 o'clock Jakarta time. And we will use the same Zoom ID. And we will have Dr. Ermita Elias as the speaker. Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Yamasawa, and everybody here. Have a nice break, lunch maybe, and see, or late
Thank you,
lunch,
madam.
or late lunch for Dr. Yamasawa. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, see you again.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Liti.
Thank you.
Bye, Mom.
Hi, Sachit.
How you doing?
Great.